Alrighty, so that was annoying. Give me a second. I'm still making sure things are actually working. Stream manager. I'm gonna unmute me for 2 seconds. Make sure I can actually hear me. Unmute me for 2 seconds. Make sure I can actually hear me. That sounds like me. Cool. I think. I hope. So yeah, I installed a Windows update. It was a bad choice, I know. I don't know if it was the update's fault or what is happening here, or if it was coincidental timing. But it appears that after installing that update, for whatever reason, OBS could not find my microphone. So it was, and I'm realizing my camera's not on. I had to restart. It's a process. I'm showing up in a second. It's going to be thinking here. Give it a minute. Square, now it's a different square. Then it's going to be a really crappy version of my face. There it is. And it'll just, it's a process. There it is. Neat, we did it. All right, let me turn that on. Auto framing. Yeah, so let me just, I'm gonna do that for a minute. Here I am. So I don't know what I had to do. I had to fix it. In OBS, there's this little toggle where you can set what a device is set to listen to. It kept telling me device not connected or available. It is right, it's right here. But when I went into the drop down, the actual like mic input was an option in the list. So I don't know what the heck happened to it, but the important thing is we're here now and it works. And if you couldn't tell from the notification, I finished Crystal version last week. Go team. It's very exciting stuff. I'm happy to have done it. I beat Red, like, for realsies. Now I am going to be playing through Pokemon Platinum. I'm going to do even number generations for a little bit because it seems like it's fun to do a pattern. So let me make sure that this is working. When I switch to the DS thing, you should have a white boxes. Yeah, we did it. All right. And I should be able to open this. That sounds loud. Let me go into my volume mixer. See, that sounds very loud. Give me just a second. I'm actually going to... Oh, geez, it's gonna make an echo. Oh, that's not a good thing. I'm gonna mute my headset for a second. I just want to give something a listen. Will that work? I think it's gonna work. It'll probably be fine. I guess if it's loud enough that it's bothering you, throw it in the chat. Otherwise, we're gonna roll with that. Ooh, I do have a plan. Actually, I'm gonna open the stream on my phone while the little intro thing plays. And I'm gonna make sure that it doesn't sound awful, during which time I'm gonna mute my own microphone a little bit so you guys don't have to hear it. Ooh, wait, no, I can do one better. This. Headphone. This is a process. I tested a bunch of this stuff, and it was set up nicely, and then Windows Update punched my computer in the face, and now it's not good. So just let me do a little testing, I apologize. So this is just a mic test so I can hear how loud I'm going to be. I think it's a smidge loud. Is that the 1? Are you shitting me right now? I think probably there is reasonable. Maybe there. Cool. So I'm gonna hit the start button. It unbound my controls. Isn't this great? Roll config. Give it a second here. I promise I know what I'm doing. Click. Other more different click. Alright, looks like I need to do this. Cancel, exit. We'll skip the intro video. Control config, thanks Windows Update. Left, down, right. B, A, Y, X. Start, select, LR. OK. Recent ROM. Well, if it worked, I should be able to skip all of this garbage. Yeah, look at that. Those are buttons. We did it. Let me take this off. And I can disconnect from my own stream because we know it works now, and I'm happy with the volume levels. I apologize. This has been a situation, to say the least. The important thing is that I'm going to play a video game, and it's going to be fun. Oh, slow text. That's right, I didn't get a chance to fix that because I didn't want to save and skip the intro. The intro is important. That's how we know that I'm playing the game for real. I don't think we need any info, though. I don't know if you've heard, but I just beat Pokémon Crystal version, which means I'm, like, super good at this game. Touch the ball. Click. Yeah. That's a rabbit. Yo, I've got one busy weekend coming up for me here. So I'm actually kind of being deafened by this game, so I'm going to turn it down some and just assume that my own volume is reasonable. There we go. Yeah, so you guys have met Leanne on stream a little bit. She's been around. Yes, I'm a boy. Thank you for asking. She's been around on the stream, specifically on like Warzone days, but it's been fun having her on. Well, her mom is getting married on Saturday, so that's exciting. I'm gonna do my name with the right capitalization. V-A-N seems good. Yeah, her mom's getting married on Saturday, and I have responsibilities. I don't really know exactly how it happened, but I'm going to be a greeter. Also, I'm going to be recording video. Also, I've been asked to kind of handle the music, and it's fun. Actually, I kind of volunteered to do the music, if I'm being honest, but I am doing this stream today, and then I may or may not be on Friday. Schedule permitting, I would love to be on, but we'll see what happens. We're going to give him a new name. This is going to be Donnie. Once again, he'll figure it out eventually, then I name all my rivals after him. Okie dokie. That's my friend's name, that's for darn sure. But yeah, it's gonna be a thing. So in the next like 48 hours, I need to get the audio configuration squared away the way that I want it. I need to build the playlist. I need to get the camera figured out, which I'll be doing Friday at some point. I need to see the venue and set up at the venue, and I need to make sure that I've ironed my pants. So some things on the to-do list. If anyone has any experience with this, I would very much appreciate just kind of, I don't know, pro tips when using a camera, any music that you would like to hear at a wedding, anything like that. I don't know. Like, I know how to do electronics stuff. You may have noticed what I'm streaming on the internet right now, and that's not exactly just a double click it and it works thing, especially like you got to do some configuring and crap, which I've figured it out. But like, you know, it's someone's wedding. I don't want to have what happened here where I spent 30 minutes fooling around with it to happen on that day. That's really important to them and me, you know? Yeah, it's the new PC. Thanks for asking. But I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good time. I also did just go and... Let's see if there's any free items in the PC. I did just go and update my stream schedule like an hour ago. Oh, it doesn't have items. Screw that. It's a lame computer. So I updated my stream schedule for reasons that I'm going to explain now. So here's the gist. Marios, the MGM guy, good friend of mine, someone that I play Magic with regularly. You've probably seen him around on the channel before, and I recommend you go check out his channel if you haven't already. It's pretty cool. He plays some games, different ones than I do, and he's definitely got a personality that's good for streaming, so check him out. But his availability shifted, so he can't do Magic on Mondays anymore, which is the day we were originally doing it, but he is free on Fridays. Yeah, I'm not gonna... Just take it easy. Thanks, Mom. So he is going to be playing with us on Fridays now, so I've switched my Magic plans so that I'll be playing Magic on Fridays instead. Leanne has been enjoying playing Warzone, which is fine, and I've been really enjoying having her on. But she has Monday obligations every other week, so she was kind of bummed out about the timing of that schedule. So I've switched it so now Warzones are on Wednesdays, and Pokemon starting next week will be on Mondays. So it's going to be Monday Mons, Warzone Wednesdays, and Friday Night Magic, but not the sponsored event kind. All right, we gotta go back into the house. See, I should probably, like, read the text. Oh, you know what we're gonna do right now, actually? All right, that's the X button. How do you open? There it is. Options, for the love of God, fast. That's probably fine. Battle scene on, sure. These are all casual playthroughs, unless you guys want challenge runs, but that's not totally my style. And I always like that frame. There we go. We did options. The game looks nice. Text will be fast enough that it's not going to upset me to play the game. I do have, I think, speed up bound to the left trigger. Oh yeah, that's on the left trigger, all right. So I'm going to make sure I don't bump that too much. See, Diamond and Pearl and Platinum are slow by their very nature, but the text speed not being super slow makes such a huge difference. You know, like, you expect the battles to take a while. I don't know why the game ran as slow as it did. Like, if you guys have seen Black and White version, like, that's on the same hardware. And those run so fast compared to this. Like, I don't really know. But, yeah, we're just gonna kind of do some Pokemon for a little bit. I'm gonna play probably till midnight-ish, maybe a little later to make up for the time that I missed. I'll also have to go into... Actually, you know what? We're gonna do it right now. Content. Is that not the button for it? Video producer? Is that... Really? And then we're going to delete, 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 and then we're just going to leave the current broadcast up. That way there's no weird 17-second long things. But yeah. It's going to be neat. I'm going to be having fun with it. I enjoyed Diamond and Pearl. They were the first games that I took, like, actually seriously. Like, I played Red, Blue... Dude. Okay. I played Red and Blue version back on the Game Boy Black and White. I played Gold, Silver, and Crystal on the Game Boy Color. Like, I had played all the games prior to it, Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, like, I was into them. But I had not played with any level of seriousness. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. I had a Game Shark for some of the Game Boy Advance games. Like, I was having fun with it, but there was nothing that I had played, with any level. Like, I had never looked into how to breed for stats or eggs or whatever. You know what I mean? I have been playing for funsies. This is the first game where I actually looked up, like, how IVs work, how effort values work. Like, I really drilled down on it pretty hard. So I knew the games were coming out. I had really kind of aggressively followed, like, the pre-release cycle where you could see, like, the games getting spoiled online, because this was back in the era when games launched in Japan, like 6 months before they would launch in the US. So, like, you would see all of the playthrough stuff and all the leaks and everything coming from Japan, and then when it finally came to the US, you get to play through it, and I followed it pretty aggressively. I am looking forward very much to kind of playing through this and cruising through, because I've replayed it since then, but, like, I usually play it on an emulator, and I'll keep, like, turbo mode on just so I don't have to do anything. It is going to be very exciting to just kind of cruise through and appreciate this game at a medium pace, kind of like I did with Crystal version for the first time in ages. Alright, we gotta pick a Pokemon. Who are we doing as a starter? Am I doing what I did last time, where I picked someone I wouldn't normally have picked? Or am I doing something... Ooh, you know what I want to do, actually? You're gonna have to bear with me for a second here. Top screen, scale filtering, do that. Might not be super easy to tell, but it looks a heck of a lot better over here. Cool. So yeah, I usually get Chimchar. And I like Chimchar. And Fernape is one of my favorite Pokemon, but I don't know if it's best for me to use the same guys again now, or if it would be better for me to pick someone I wouldn't normally have picked. I I think there's only one way to decide it. I have a Magic the Gathering spin down here. I know they're not super random because they still kind of are, but they're not weighted fairly because all the numbers are kind of clumped together. But what we're going to do is I'm tossing it back and forth in my hands now. I'm going to roll it. If it comes up as a, I guess we'll do 1 through 6, we'll do the left Pokeball. 7 through 12, we'll do the middle one, and 13 through 18, we'll do the right hand one. If I get a 19 or a 20, I'll re-roll. So I'm going to roll it. Came up with a 6, which means we're taking the left-hand Pokeball, whatever it is. I forget what order they're in here. Sure, we'll have a Turtwig. All right, it's a fun enough way to try things out there. As I said, I normally get Chimchar. I am enjoying the idea of doing these playthroughs with something different than what I would normally pick. It's really easy to kind of get in a groove. Hang on. There it is. It's really easy to get in a groove with like a particular starter. Like I have a team that I would usually kind of go for that involved filling in things like needing to get a water type, needing to get a grass type, and now I'm going to need to shift that a little bit because now I need to find a fire type. I may end up choosing a different water type depending on how it meshes with the team. Like I'm going to shift things around a little bit and kind of use a team that I might not have originally picked had I gotten just the kind of like my box starter that I always get. So that's exciting. It's time to fight. Cool. So we do have the touchscreen set up on the bottom, just pretty cool. It's over here, and I made it so that the mouse will show up on that one, but not on the big screen, which is kind of nice. I think it's less distracting, but it still shows you what I'm pointing at if I'm going to click stuff. But yeah, we're just going to kind of roll in through the beginning of the game and see where we end up. I kind of found like a tempo with Crystal version that was working where we were doing kind of 2 gyms-ish per day for a little bit. I don't know if we're going to exactly do that. Platinum version definitely has a little bit of a different tempo about it, so we'll see. I also have a milkshake, so bear with me here. No, I have less of a milkshake. There we go. Extra complicated and difficult first battle, resulting in our win. Go team. And we level up. Yeah, so Turtwig's going to be pretty good. It'll make the first gym a little easier for us, and we can pick up something like Razor Leaf, because I used to have to basically grind until I had him on Inferno and use Mach Punch to heal up, but it'll be fine. It will be fine. And honestly, this will be kind of like a nice refresher of what the Sinnoh games were all about before the supposed announcement of a Sinnoh remake that's going to be coming out sometime. So I'm looking forward to that. Cool. Oh, we got running shoes early. That's what's up. Nice. And they work. Look at that. Do we go to Donnie's house? Is that a thing? Yeah. All right. So do we go to the lake or do we just go over to Sanjum Town? I'm not sure. Let's see. Yeah, I'm sure that's going to work. 2 10-year-olds who just got their starters. What could possibly go wrong, right? Let's see. Like clarity ahead. Don't really care about the text. Cool. Oh, that's right. You meet Cyrus here. Ominous. Yeah, I gotta be honest. This was kind of like the first generation that sort of introduced the your rival's not so very smart sort of thing. How and Hop and like especially like the 2 or 3 most recent generations really suffered from that, but it's been a bit of a situation since around this time with Barry. I did really like these games, though. Oh man, starting out a new adventure always feels like it's going to be so slow, you know? Like we had such a good team in Crystal version. Feels kind of weird, kind of backpedaling and starting over. No, I'm out of milkshake, but that's fine. That is the goal when drinking a milkshake, is to finish it. Let me just drop a chair a little bit. There we go. And we made it. Yeah, he's such a klutz. You know what? Who do we name it after? I'm going to name it after my most recent follower, who is also a good friend of mine. That'll be fun. He was actually on Warzone with me one time. I don't think he's been on stream yet, but I might try and get him around. He's actually pretty darn good at the game, if I do say so myself. One of those people that it's always exciting to play with. So I had Jake and Leanne on with me recently. Cornera is my friend John. So we'll see if we can get him on. So I'm gonna let Rowan talk himself out. But yeah, it'll be fun. So what I would normally do, and I'm trying to decide if this is the right call, is I would normally get just a Starly on one of the early routes. That'll be my flyer. We'll fish up some sort of surfing Pokemon. I haven't really decided how we're going to go about it. It is tempting to scoop up a Gyarados again, even though we just had one, because now we can finally take advantage of the physical special split and have Gyarados be like an actually worthwhile fighter instead of kind of just being sandbagged by having a bunch of special attacks on a high physical attack blend. Let's see though. Cool. What do we got? TM27? I don't remember what that one is in the older games. Return? That makes sense, I suppose. Now we get to learn about how to be a Pokemon trainer. Let's do it. It's a Pokemon Center. Oh, we can heal up there. This is good news. I thought they were one-time use Pokemon too. Buy stuff? I love buying stuff. Spent like 50 bucks on stuff today. I'm really good at spending money. Very nice. Alright, well yeah, we will go ahead and heal up. Cool. Then we'll head down this way. I do miss the old Diamond and Pearl days. This was, as I said, this is when I had kind of gotten into it. I don't know if you guys have ever tried something like this, and I'm not advocating that you go chat with strangers online. Keep that in mind. But I used to hang out on this old forum called the Pokemon Elite 2000 forum, and I played on like a competitive battle. I think they called them Battling Clan back in the day. So you would kind of breed up and train up your Pokemon and do battling online with other people, and it was a lot of fun. But it was Generation 4 era when I did that, so it was Diamond and Pearl when I was into that. It was a huge amount of fun. It didn't last forever, but you know, what does? But that's part of what got me is into like the competitive idea and like shiny hunting and searching for like good IVs, good EVs, like that whole process. This game kind of brought that about. So yeah, obviously for any given playthrough, I'm not going to stress about it too terribly much. It's not really my style, but I will definitely be enjoying just kind of like the look back at like the art style and the graphics and the Pokédex from the era when that was how I played. You know, like obviously I still have that era about me, but like I'm not part of any group online, so anything that I do is just for my own entertainment with a couple friends that I play with. So it was a big group. It was like maybe 10-ish people. I recognize that I've got one viewer, and I have this suspicion that the one viewer is the game preview window that's over there. It's as part of the stream manager, so it shouldn't count, but I swear it has to, because I always have one viewer, and I always have that thing open, and it kind of feels like a coincidence that I can't ignore. But if somehow you ever hear this, there's a gentleman named Akai that I used to play with on there. He had a Scizor that would make you cry, Swords Dance and Bullet Punch. You know the combo. Well, he was excellent and someone that I spent a lot of time getting to know and practicing with, and we just kind of fell out of touch one day. So if you ever hear this, dude, shoot me a message. I've got a Twitter. I will absolutely chat with you, and we can like get back in touch and battle or something if you still play. I would love it. Pardon me while I crunch up some ice. But yeah, so today was my last day of the work week. I am off tomorrow and Friday. Sort of. Those days are going to be spent getting ready for that wedding, as I mentioned earlier, but I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, so I don't have work tomorrow, I don't have work the next day, so it means that Friday I would normally be playing Magic with the guys. I do not know if that's how it's going to work out this week. I've been kind of talking about that a little bit. There were just like concerns I had about the timing on everything, whether I was going to be home, because I have to take Leanne out to where she needs to be at her mom's place. So we'll see. Worst case scenario though, if I don't make it back in time, I might do like a light stream then, or I might do something Sunday or Monday, because those days are both post-wedding and I'm still off because it's a 5-day weekend for me. So we'll see. But let's go ahead up here and have Dawn give us the catching tutorial. Cool. I do like Piplup. I don't think it's a particularly great Pokemon, but I like it. Stylistically, I think it's really cool. It's fun learning, isn't it? Before this, I never even knew how to catch a Pokemon. The more you know. Turns out to catch a Pokemon, you have to throw a Pokeball at it. All right, so we got 5 Pokeballs. Let's go on an adventure. This way. Adventure to the left. It's a Bidoof. So, that is the big question. Do I catch just a Starly, have a Staraptor, and just enjoy it for what it is? Or do I try and get a different flying type for this playthrough? My inclination is to get a Staraptor. I think that's what I'm going to go for. They're strong, and especially in the absence of something like a Chimchar, where I'm not going to get the Infernape that does close combat, I really kind of suspect that having a Staraptor, which if I remember correctly can learn close combat, is something that I'm going to want to have. So I'm going to move forward with that idea in mind, and then, I don't know, if that one person in chat, or in the... Oop, I bumped the thing, so I told you I wasn't going to do that, and then I did it anyway. If the person watching is not the stream preview window and you would like me to do something other than Staraptor, throw it out there. If it is the preview, or if you have no opinion, keep your mouth shut. Or don't, I don't know. Tell me you support the decision, I don't really care. As long as we're having fun, it doesn't matter. That's going to be annoying, but it's okay. Anything that makes battles take longer for no reason's annoying, though. Yeah, these earlier, like the Gen 4 battles, not famed for their speed. Cool. Alright, we got our level up. And based on the amount of damage we took, I think we go back this way now. I am going to choose to heal, because I would rather not lose. Ooh. Luxray is another neat Pokemon. Physical electric attackers, I could take or leave. There's not a lot of great physical electric moves. I mean, this gen had Spark and Thunderfang, which is fine, but it is still tempting. I'm also proceeding with the same basic rule I have on shinies. If I manage to bump into one, we are sure as heck taking it for the team. I will drop someone out of the party if we bump into a shiny at random. Or guarantee they get added if I haven't filled the whole thing yet. And that is a question, something I will need to answer in the coming days. In Crystal version, I included the title Legendary Suicune in the team. Do I include Giratina in the team? Use the Master Ball, catch it at the end of the playthrough, like in the Distortion world, before the 8th gym, mind you, and then use it through the Pokemon League, or is that something we're going to consider to be a little too powerful? No wrong answer. I'm just looking at it and I'm kind of questioning what the right answer is. So, I want to use it. I usually do use the playthrough legendary, whatever the title legendary is, but if that feels like something that just doesn't jive with how you would picture a playthrough going, let me know. We have about 7-ish badges until we need to have an answer on that, so it's okay. At that point, more or less free experience, right? So we'll take it. Getting them's levels is going to be important. I need to make sure we learn a grass move before we reach the first gym. I would also love to, you know what? Does Starly appear at night? We're going to look it up. I guess we're not going to look it up. We got an answer right there, don't we? It's a level 4 too. It's actually not so very bad. Just going to smack it with a tackle, see how much damage we do. Alright, well that helps actually. These early game battles are very exciting. Lots of tackles being used. There we go. Team member number 2. Who are we naming it after? just going to start working my way backwards on the people list. Yeah, we'll give a nickname to Starly. I'm going to name this one after my previous follower, which I can see. You can't see it. You don't need to see it, though. You can take my name, my word for it. So that's after Sandy, who I believe is another person that I have met, Devin, friend from one of the Discord servers I'm on. But it's okay. There's no harm in having friends follow you. We better kill this before the bide wears out. I swear to God. Here's a thought. No. So I want to move. Yeah, we're gonna undo that until I go heal. I want to get some HP back in Starly there, but I'm thinking that we're just gonna start training Starly a little bit because I want to kind of keep it in line with everything else. But the nice thing is, unlike Crystal version, where it was kind of like this mad dash to get a Crobat so that I could finally fly, we'll have access to fly pretty early in this game. And that'll be nice because a lot of the battling and the walking, it is very dry. You know, Gen 2, at least the gameplay was pretty quick. Gen 4, like you can see the movement speed even just feels a little slow, I think is a fair way to put it. But we are gonna, God, alright. Pokemon switch. There we go. We'll do what we have to level it up. Might just switch train against this girl here. Let's see what we got. Should be easy enough, though. We're just gonna let Sandy take a run at it. And if we get the win, we get the win. If we don't, we don't. And I'll switch over to our starter, who definitely can handle something like this. That's gonna hurt, isn't it? Ooh. Unless we get a crit or two, I don't think we're gonna be winning it with Sandy here. Yeah, I suspect that it would be appropriate for us to switch now. What do you think? A little bit of tackle in action. So it turns out his specialty is being annoying. That's good to know. We got Absorb, which means we can now kind of start... I mean, obviously it's the direction we're heading, but we can start aiming for the Rock Gym. Because having access to a grass move is kind of the requisite that we had to be able to survive there. I suspect this is going to go poorly, but we'll try it. Yeah, I think we're just going to run... I keep bumping the speed up button. I might need to unbind that. I should have healed, but it's okay. We don't need to heal. We can wing it. We'll be fine. I'm just going to recline here for a few. This is going to be slow. Ooh, a Burmy. Let's see how much damage we do. That might actually be winnable if we heal up. I'll burn our one potion here, I don't care. Seriously, look how slow all of this stuff is. I cannot get over just the time-consumingness of the animations, you know? Fight, tackle... Just kind of chugs, you know? We'll get to where it's interesting, though, I promise. Little tackling. This is a fight that Sandy can win, which is nice. Is that a level? Should be a level. Is. Quick attack's a nice get. Oh boy. That's 2 levels. Alright. Sandy's pretty good. It's definitely a worthwhile early game catch. Is that a trainer too? Are we gonna fight that guy? Alright, that's good advice. Not being sarcastic that time, I know that some games have the day-night cycle thing and other ones don't. See, I'm glad we caught a level 4 instead of a level 2. But no, I know some games take advantage of it, other ones don't, so it is good to have just that early reminder that this is one of the ones where the day-night cycle does matter. Ooh, cool. So that's a win. Right. Forgot Looker was introduced in this game. It's nice of him. Versus recorder. I don't think we'll be using it, but still, a kind gift. Alright, so we're gonna go heal, because Sandy took a little bit of a beating on that route. Got some levels out of it, it was worthwhile, but still. I'm gonna go do a little bit of that, and then we'll get going. So this is one of the first games in the Pokemon series that kind of tinkered with the idea of 3D. That's why, like, some of the stuff looks as fuzzy as it does when you're walking, because the game's, like, re-rendering a lot of stuff, like the walkway on the sidewalk and stuff. It's a little grainy, but, you know, it works. Old-timey 3D stuff. Should we? I think we're gonna fight these guys first. What do you think? Here's where we check and see how smart my brain is. I think he's got an Abra, if I remember correctly. No, he's got a Starly. The girl's got an Abra. Or is it somewhere else? Who was it that talked about hidden power? Alright, so we're matched for level. That's kind of nice. X attack's gonna be a situation. Quick attack? Alright, so he's faster, or we have a speed tie. Ooh. That's a good bit of damage on their part. Alright, so it's a speed tie, or now he's not using quick attack. And we don't get to find out. Not that it matters, but still. 72. Seems good. Alright. He used items fine. He's being hard on himself. I'm just super good at this game, you know? What do you say? I swear, one of these guys has an Abra. Bidoof? There's a person in one of these games that has an Abra. I don't know. It's not worth getting whiny about, but I swear it may be a different trainer school, like a different game, but they had an Abra and it was like they used hidden power. Might be somewhere else, like a different building in a different town somewhere. By the end of the game, if it's there, we will probably find it. So I'm gonna just not let it bother me for now. Sandy's putting in work though. But now that we have Absorb on Chronera, I'm happy to have Sandy kind of scoop up some levels too. So I would love to keep this in line so we get a Star Raptor kind of on curve instead of having to be kind of late to the party. Everybody use the potion properly? What, you're in trainer school and you think you can fight but you can't heal? Come on. Come on. So who's the higher level? We still have more levels on Chronera. I don't remember if Barry wants to fight. I'm sorry, if Donnie wants to fight, but let's find out. Cool, so we got an X attack. That's neat. Cool, cool. Making progress. We got the town map. Cool. So let me take a quick look here. That's, yeah. I'm gonna look at the town map. Get an idea of what we're working with here. Everything's still grayed out. That's good. Ooh, we can do that. Alright, this is actually kind of neat. The old-timey town map. It's pretty good. It's pretty okay. Yeah, it's probably not that great, but it's fine. Well, I think we can go get the Poketch now, so we can have at least something going on the bottom screen instead of just like the yellow Pokeball. Gonna heal up after the trainer school because maximum health is important for being able to survive. I might just take my time and try and get one badge tonight. Just enjoy the early game before we try and set too aggressive of a pace. I would like this to be good for at least, I don't know, 4 streams. Mine aren't overly long, so that should be a manageable number, I think. Yeah, I'm a total chump. Don't got no Poketches. So they're all outside, I believe. They got guy number 1. Yep. That's exactly how it works. Cool. Clown number 2, not you, you're clown number 4. This is definitely number 2 right here. Yep. Seems like we might have missed one. Or they're just kind of out of order. Also, I noticed a little hitch in the game just a second ago. I am going to go ahead and just save state right there, right now, on the grounds that I will be upset if the early game stuff we just did gets taken from us. Sir, give me the watch. Cool. That's the time. The fact that this emulator taps into the system clock is neat. What other options do we have on here? A calculator in case we need to do math. Neat. Is that a step counter? I actually kind of like the step counter. Team information. I think I'm going to leave it at team info right now. Let's do that. Cool. You know what I'm going to do? Alright, so here, I'm using an Xbox controller for this because it's a Windows computer, and I don't know if you've heard, but Windows, Microsoft, Xbox, it's a whole thing. But check this out. This is one of the things that has bothered me for a long time. I'm going to hold 2 controllers up to the camera, one after the other. So take a look at this. It's kind of hard to see, but what you'll notice is the A button is at the bottom. Here, let me, there we go. A button's at the bottom, Y button's at the top. X and B are on the left and right. Now look at this Nintendo controller. There's a subtle difference. A and Y are left and right, B is at the bottom, X is at the top. So the X and Y are switched and the A and B are switched. Why? Why? And then, of course, because I'm playing Pokemon on Nintendo consoles most of the time, I've got the muscle memory to hit X, which is the top, to open the start menu. And I keep hitting it here, and it reads like Y, because I mapped it to match the Xbox controller button letters instead of just where the Nintendo button would be. So I'm going to take a minute right now. Control config, up, left, down, right, B, A, Y, X. Start, select, LR. Good enough. Much more native, natural. Perfect, perfect, perfect. I'm gonna need to change something else actually. Control config, sorry about that, give me just a second. B button, A button, Y button, X button. Cool. Sorry. So we're going to go back some more. But yeah, so that kind of wraps up what we need to do in town, I think. Is this going to be a fight with Barry? Oh, geez. I probably should have paid attention on the way down onto the route, but that's okay. Ooh, great minds think alike. Except for mine's better. Suck it, Donnie. That's a lot of damage. That's annoying, because that means we're probably going to have to switch. I also realize now that that means that his team is 2 Pokemon, and both of them have a type advantage over my starter. So we're going to want to be prepared to address that, I think. More tackle. More growl. Ugh. Come on, Sandy, you got this. There we go. Level up, which actually means I don't mind switching to my starter. I hope it doesn't have Ember, the Chimchar. Yeah, we're gonna... Oh, that's the wrong button. Whatever. We're gonna not switch. It was on purpose. So we'll just quick attack. I'm just gonna kind of hammer it for as much damage as we can and see where it takes us. Yeah, the first time I played through Diamond version, I mentioned when I was playing through Crystal that I kind of had this quirk as a kid about how I would play through these games, where I just truly, more than anything else, did not want to fight extra trainers. It just was boring and I didn't feel like it. Ooh, we're actually doing pretty good. Nice job, Sandy. But no, I just really, beyond a shadow of a doubt, did not feel like doing more battles than I had to. So I played a lot of underleveled Pokemon. Diamond version was the first time I took a different approach and I fought every trainer instead of avoiding every trainer I could. And it worked, except I still had one of those quirks from my old playstyle where I kind of just only used my starter and nothing else. And I fought the Pokemon League with a level 86 Infernape. I don't know if you've played Diamond and Pearl, but the League is not level 86 vicinity at all. Not even close. So that was a bit of a thing. This time I'm definitely not doing that. I'm gonna do like the actually like kind of cleverly put together team with fairly even levels, and we're just gonna go for the best. We have Wing Attack. Why am I not doing that? Come on, me. Gotta pay attention. Alright, so Bide would have been scarier if I thought it was gonna live. There we go. Actually, that means that Staraptor in the end is going to be really nice to have against our rival's starter because we went with Turtwig this time. So having a flying type to take on the fighting starter is going to be awesome. We're going to keep battling, actually. Because I suspect Turtwig's going to have a bitch of a time fighting against Zubat. Yes. Yeah, no, Pat, that's exactly what I want to do. And it's like, in the old games like Red, Blue, Gold, and Silver, I just would avoid everything and be horrendously underleveled and then complain that I couldn't beat stuff because I was like 8 and I didn't give a shit. Nowadays, I do a reasonably good job, and Diamond and Pearl, I was like that weird intermediary, like, hadn't figured it out yet thing, so my starter was just, like, hysterically overleveled. Which, honestly, I'm not opposed to just from like an entertainment standpoint, but at the same time, it's like, it's not a good strategy. I mean, it's great because like you're fighting like level 40s and you're barreling through with like a level 80 something, like nothing's gonna touch you. But it doesn't make for interesting gameplay, you know? It kind of gets dry. Oh man. But yeah, finished Crystal version last week. I beat Red. Yo, the new versions have so many little quality of life changes. I was not ready for my return to the older generations. I'm like walking around maybe to fight and like one Pokemon got experienced, and I was like, excuse me, sir, where are the others? Oh, okay. I was like, you know what, we'll do some max raids so I can get experience candy so I don't have to grind. And then you know what's not in Gen 2? Max raids are in fact not in Gen 2. Just a lot of little things, you know what I mean? It makes it so that the game doesn't feel like you have to like sit there and just sink a buttload of time into it. Or if you do, at least it makes it interesting. You know, grinding against wild Pokemon for 4 hours sucks, but I don't know, doing max raids with people and catching stuff and all like that at least kind of adds some variety to it. It makes it feel a little different. And then the experience candies you get more than make up for the time spent. So it's fun. That's fun. Yeah, we're doing Pokemon Platinum, and then I think I'm going to see if I can get a 3DS emulator working and see if I can do like an X and Y version playthrough after this. Just kind of do even-numbered generations and see where that gets us. Yeah, because I'm going to do... We did 2, this is 4, we'll do 6, and then I will just do a playthrough of Sword once I finish those, and I'll just use my capture card for that. No need to find a Switch emulator. But it'll be fun. It'll be a good time. You had mentioned something the other day, and I'm not going to get into too much detail here unless you want to chat about it, but I still need to look up Pokemon Showdown. Ooh, let me see what we got here. Experience share. It does. Yes. Yeah, no, from like a lore standpoint, and that's the thing. It's like a balancing act between like the flavor of the game world and like the gameplay, you know what I mean? But now X and Y, I'm so torn. So I loved Generation 2 because of the multiple regions thing, you know, like the whole beat that Pokemon League, then there's like 8 more badges, some more stuff to do. It could have been a little more fleshed out, I guess. I mean, probably not technologically speaking, because I know it kind of stuffed those game cartridges back in the day to the gills. Gen 6 though, with the introduction of Mega Evolution, the first time we got 3D just in the main series game, I mean, they brought a lot of just like cosmetic changes, but just overall, like the always on experience share thing, Pokemon Bank rolling out to make it easier to move Pokemon between your own saves. Like if you had one DS and one set of games and you wanted to kind of like move Pokemon back and forth, that sucked. Pokemon Bank made it super easy to just like pick up, drop it down. It's awesome. And Pokemon Home does the same thing. There's only one Switch game, so it doesn't matter yet. I think we are going to switch for no particular reason. Oh yeah, so I made a lot of poor choices and would just kind of restart games, so I never really brought forward things that were too terribly old. Probably the oldest generation that I actually salvaged Pokemon from was maybe Gen 5. I know I had 6, 7, and 8 in there. I might have had a couple loose, like Diamond and Pearl Pokemon. I don't remember. It has been a little bit, but it was so nice to be able to just go 2010 event. Yeah, that's what's up, man. Because it was like borderline impossible to get Mew way back in the day. Yeah, because I have my friend John, who you met, actually. He's on the... I think you've met him. If you haven't, don't worry about it. You will eventually, I'm sure. He brought forward his Pokemon Ruby version, Arcanine, like his favorite, or it might have been Fire Red version, Arcanine, like his favorite Pokemon from the Game Boy Advance. He has, I think they added Arcanine into the game on the Switch. If they hadn't, he's got it on the on Pokemon Bank. He just needs to wait for like an update to come down to actually enable it. But that is such a cool thing to be able to have a Pokemon that that's like super, or like one that you've had. Guess what? Ruby came out like 2002, 2003. Having Pokemon from that long ago be able to still be with you in the current series is awesome. People are really hard on Sword and Shield for stuff, myself included, but like there are some things that I really have to respect, and that's one of them. Being able to like bring forward your old guys like that. You know, some of them. We're not gonna dive into Dexit here, but like for the ones that you can bring forward, it is so nice. Oh man. The fact that you can equip them and give your Pokemon titles, you mean? Yes, I think that's really cool. And the fact that Pokemon that come forward from old games can bring forward their titles, so you can send out like the Hoenn region champion and the Sinnoh region champion, that is awesome. And here's another thing that I didn't know about it until maybe 4 months ago. Have you ever heard of marks? They're like ribbons, but you can't deliberately breed or practice or get them. Yeah, you get them just by the luck of running into a Pokemon. You can't hatch them. They have to be caught in the wild, but you can get marks so that you can then send out into battle with their own titles. There was yeah, I have like one, maybe two. Like I don't have a lot. They're definitely rare. There was a Pokemon that was used in one of the Nintendo VGC. There is a Mark Charm, yes. I think it's a reward for completing the Isle of Armor regional Pokédex. Yes. Because the Crown Tundra didn't give you any sort of charm. I think they kind of charmed, because there's a shiny charm, there's the oval charm, there's the mark charm, there's the experience charm, and then I don't know, what the hell else can you charm in these games? There's not that much going on. But no, there was a guy, oh, that's the wrong button. There was a guy in one of the Nintendo VGC tournaments who sent out a Whimsicott with Prankster that he was using to set up some stuff, which is totally cool. It's a good move. And he named it the Fast and it had the mark that let it bear the title the Furious. So he sends out a Pokemon and it says, "Go, the Fast and the Furious," and that is absolutely hysterical. I've seen arguments now that getting the right mark to give your Pokemon an iconic name like that is arguably more special than it being shiny. I still think shiny's pretty heckin' neat, but at the same time, like, getting the right title in a Pokemon, that's what's up. Yeah, we're just gonna keep doing our thing. Yeah, I was cracking up when I read that, because that's such a funny, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's great. Oh yeah, because like you don't have to breed for, like, breeding lets you kind of get good stats, but at the same time, depending on what you do, it's like you can just catch whatever. Like I have Pokemon that I caught that are shiny, that like, or ones that I've hatched just working towards some goals that just, they didn't have stats that really cut it, but you can just pop up a couple bottle caps, give it a mint, and then done. It's competitive enough. You know what I mean? The only thing that you can't do, and this has been kind of a sticking point for me, is I'm trying to build a Trick Room team because it seems fun. And you can't bottle cap a stat down. You can only perfect it. And that's kind of a bummer. I mean, I understand why they didn't put that in place, but if you want to get it like a bad IV, like I want my speed to have a 0 IV because I want to be as slow as possible so that Trick Room gives me the biggest boost possible. You actually have to very specifically breed for a 0. So that's been weird. Rust, that would actually be really funny. Rusty bottle caps. And there's always room for that. Like, Generation 9 is going to happen eventually, probably. I don't know, I'm assuming Pokemon makes such a huge amount of money. There's no way they're not going to do it. And it seems like every generation they add more, because the bottle caps were Gen 7, then they added the mints in Gen 8. There was super training and hyper training. Super training was the EV one. They added that in Gen 6. Like, starting with Generation 6, they really started rolling out just like quality of life improvements just to make it easier to just like level up and make your Pokemon viable for things, whether it's just the battle tower or whatever little post-game challenge you want to do, or if you want to do something competitive, you know what I mean? There's all kinds of local stuff. Did it? Oh, is that what that did? Like, way the heck back? I know they had like I remember that. I didn't realize it actually directly affected your stats like that. That's awesome. Because I know they made it really accessible through like one of the menus that you had through like the PSS down on the bottom screen in that's right, the Pokethlon things. I do remember those. It's been a while, and it didn't necessarily register for me at the time that it directly affected stats. But that's awesome. I love stuff like that, though. You know what I mean? Like having to sit there and EV train by battling is such a drag. Like, you need to go out and find a specific species of Pokemon that you know drops the right IVs, then you need to fight, what, a couple hundred of them, depending on how many EVs they drop, unless you get those items. Like, oh, it dragged. You know what I mean? Being able to just, like, pop in, play a couple mini games, do some stuff, and then done. Your Pokemon's trained up as much as it needs to be. They take, like, the grinding tediousness out of it and just make it so that you can just enjoy using the Pokemon. And that's big. You know what I mean? Like, I'm comfortable grinding in if I need to, but... yeah, they have the berries to lower effort values. They have bottle caps to raise effort values. They have the training, the bottle caps to raise individual values. There's ways to maneuver them all. The only thing you can't do is lower IVs right now. But that's okay, because with the ability to correct everything else, what I've been doing is breeding. I've been able to get parent Pokemon with 0 IV and speed. And then I figure I'll just breed those, and then I'll correct for the stats. You know what I mean? I can fix the other stats with bottle caps. I can fix the natures, so I'll just do my best until I find a shiny, and I'll just guarantee it have awful stats where I need it to, and we can clean up the rest. The biggest reason that I didn't pursue a Trick Room team back in like Gen 6 when they came, when like Trick Room was a thing, was because, or that might have even been Gen 5. It's been around for a while. And yes, so vitamins can raise them all the way. Now you want to be careful, because they can raise them all the way to 255, which is technically the limit, but that extra 3 doesn't accomplish anything. So you want to do like 25 of that vitamin into the stat, and then they have those like little tiny like wings or feathers or whatever that you can do just to bump them 1 or 2 points at a time. But yes, yeah, you can do. They were capped at 10 for forever for no particular reason other than just making you do it the hard way. And it may have been for a little bit, but I know in Sword and Shield you can put more in, because that's how I've been training my Pokemon, because that sounds awful, just sitting down and grinding at it. Do they even have the hyper training or whatever they called it in Sword and Shield? I don't think they have that game mode anymore. I think they got rid of it and just basically removed the cap for it, and then just kind of turned it into like, pay money, I don't care. Like, it's easy to get in-game currency, like, just do it. So, ooh, you're having a thought. I can see it. I might have to check it out later, because I'm spending... oh, the jobs! I know, okay. I know they have those, like, the Poke jobs in the PC, yeah, where you can send the guys off to, like, do tasks, because that's a thing. But having them get bumps to their effort values and stuff, that makes perfect sense. Okay. Okay, and the nice thing is that's like, it's time consuming because like you don't have the Pokemon while you're doing that, but like you don't have to sit down and like grind at games like X and Y's super training. You had to like shoot the soccer balls at the balloon, and it was a very like you couldn't put it down. It was like an engaged game. Being able to just like set it and come back in a day, like hell yeah. That's exactly what I'm looking for. That, or take a little time and put together some in-game currency and just buy vitamins and call it a day. Which, pro tip for you, I don't know if you have played around with, let me see. Oh yeah, it throws them back just wherever. Kind of earliest in the PC, and it just stuffs them in order. It doesn't put them in the slots you took them from. which is annoying, but it does. So the first Pokemon you pick for the job will go in the first slot in the PC. The second Pokemon you pick for the job will go in the second slot. So if your PC boxes are filled and you pluck the Pokemon from very specific openings in the boxes, it will put them back into those slots, but it'll put them in earlier open slots if they're available. One little pro tip, if you don't want to do that way and you want to just spend the money on the vitamins, is if you, in the Isle of Armor, I don't know if you've played around with that much yet, but they've got that fighting dojo there, and as you progress through, there'll be a character that asks if you can donate watts to help them upgrade and afford stuff or whatever. If you eventually give enough watts, they'll start to add things, like you can get a haircut person and get exclusive haircut styles or whatever there, or that might just be the style card, I don't remember. But oh yeah, you can spend so many, but they'll eventually add a vending machine in the back that will give you vitamins for half off, which is pretty freaking cool, because then it doesn't cost, you know, $1 million to level up a Pokemon. Yeah, I eventually maxed it out. Like, I've finished the whole thing. I got the little bonus cutscene you get for finishing it. Not worth it. I would look up what the tiers are and what you unlock. That way you don't spend a whole shitload of time on it. But there's a guy, I could look up where he is. I don't remember what they call his location, but he's like the digging dude. Yeah, half off vitamins is awesome. If you buy just a single vitamin, it's full price, but you can buy them in bundles of like 1, 5, 10, and 25. And depending on the number you buy, it gives you a proportional discount. So you can definitely save some money as long as you're willing to buy 25 of them. But buying 25, it only costs you what, 12-ish would. It's Pokédollars. You can literally just spend cash money on it and call it a day, which is great because battle points are better spent elsewhere. But that's fine, because there are other ways that you can kind of take advantage of stuff. Like, I don't know, and I don't know if I should advertise this because I think Game Freak doesn't want people doing it, but there's that thing that you can do with like the change the date thing when you're at the raid den to kind of trick the game into thinking it's the next day and let you get infinite watts. Well, as infinite as you have time to work on it. That process still works. I recommend doing it offline so you're not opening up a bunch of online raid lobbies, because I think that's what causes an issue. It's boring. I got myself like a cool 900,000 watts from doing it one time because I was looking for a very specific Pokemon in the raid den, and it just took like 10 months worth of fast forwarding day by day and resetting the raid den, which is a thing. But you can turn around and buy things like luxury balls from those random like Pokemon League officials chilling out in the wild area. They're not very many watts per, and you can sell them for like 1,200 bucks. So like when in doubt, you can go drop like 80,000 watts and turn it into like $2 million. Kind of think that's going to be another battle already. I don't know, but we're going to heal because the team's in rough shape. Where's the Pokemon Center? There it is. Yeah, there's some kind of buggy stuff like that in Sword and Shield. It's not a problem, but yeah, luxury balls are a classy thing to catch your shinies in. Leon's a big fan of Premier Balls, which is great because they're just as effective as your classic red and white Pokeball, which means sometimes catching stuff in them is a bit of a process, but they're really good. As dumb as it might sound, I am a huge fan of just the classic red and white Pokeball. It is kind of like the icon of the series, other than maybe characters like Pikachu. So I just, the Beast Ball is something else, dude. And they added a way you can get more Beast Balls in Sword and Shield now. Spoiler alert. It's not that big of a spoiler. If you bought the DLC, there's an area in the Crown Tundra called the Max Lair, which is where you can do like the Dynamax adventures and stuff like that, but there's a person there who will trade Dynite ore, and then you can buy Beast Balls from them, if I'm not mistaken. So if that's something you want to do and you're playing your Sword and Shield, check it out. So it's worth being able to put more in your pockets. They are a pretty-ass Pokeball. We're going to go down here because of the gym leader is hiding from us. I heard that little micro stutter again, so we're just going to do a little bit of this action. Save state slot 1. Okay, very cool. Yeah, no, it's, I wasn't sure. You'd said that you hadn't gotten the Mark Charm. Now that's for completing the Pokédex in the DLC area, which is its own beast of a task to do. But Yeah, knowing what you can get down there is really nice because they did add some pretty cool stuff. They added a thing, I'm assuming you know about it, but I'm going to talk about it for a second anyway, called an ability patch. The ability patch is bananas, dude. It lets you, we're going to switch Pokemon. Lets you switch so you can unlock a hidden ability for a Pokemon. Just like that, you know what I mean? You don't need to sit there and go and find, like, because a lot of times hidden abilities just aren't available. Like you can't get them. Now you can. Any Pokemon you can put into Sword and Shield, you can theoretically just pop the hidden ability onto and call it a day. Like, that's awesome. Oh yeah, I need 2 of them. I have a shiny Dragonite from Pokemon Go, and I'm trying to give it the ability Multi-Scale, which is sort of important for Dragonite to be a good Pokemon to put on a team. And then I have... I had mentioned I was putting together a Trick Room team. I'm also putting together a Caparajah, but I don't have a hidden ability Caparajah, so I'm just kind of hatching Q-Fants with the right stats, but they don't have the hidden ability, so I'm going to need 2 ability patches in the end for those. But it'll be cool. I'm glad that they added it, though, because it just puts options on the table that weren't there before. And that's really, like... I've seen 2 different ways that people have reacted to that. And it kind of seems like it comes down to, like, how much of a blowhard you are about the game. There are people who are, like, mad at these additions, like the fact that the shiny charm exists and the fact that they changed the base rate to 1 in 4096 instead of, like, 1 in 8100 or so. There are people who, yeah... competitive teams, whether, dude, I was going to build a rain dance team and then I didn't, but I still got like a sketch for it. I might have to whip it up. I'm not sure. Just to conclude that thought though, I've had people who get like mad at the fact that it's easier to get shinies now, or that it's easier to get competitive stats, or like whatever the changes that they've added are. I've had people like cop an attitude that they feel like all the hard work they put in before is now like rendered invalid because now someone else can just go in and click a few buttons and they've got a team that's equally as good. And I don't think that's the case. What it does is it makes it so that, like, if you're a person who takes it seriously, go for it. You have the badge of honor of knowing that you did it the long way around and you can continue to have fun with it. But now you have friends who can play at the level that you do. So it's not just like, oh, I'm going to battle my friend and it's a blowout. And then it's what? Congratulations. You just like absolutely destroyed someone. Was it fun for you? Like, to kind of put it in the frames of Magic. Exactly. Like, be happy with the cool thing you did, but to put it in the frames of Magic, like, I would so much rather have a game where I'm at risk of losing. Honestly, I'd rather win, but that being aside, I would rather have a game where, like, it's not a guaranteed thing and that I might lose, rather than have a game where it's like, every time I play, I know I'm gonna win, because where's the, like, a good win now and again is fun, but, like, how is it fun if you know, like, there's no threat? You know what I mean? I just don't get it. So, like, the idea of being upset that people now have access to something that used to be basically locked behind a, 100-hour grind wall to put something together, like, yeah, okay, but you also got to experience how powerful those things were for all those years. You have the badge of honor of looking in the PC and seeing that it says best and not hyper-trained. Like, there are perks out there for you. Just let people enjoy things. Like, that's the message that I'm trying to bring into 2021 for myself, is just to let people enjoy things. I do have kind of a habit of kind of like talking down on stuff, and I really don't like doing that. So, like, if someone wants to play a game and not spend hundreds of hours hatching eggs and training and breeding, like, sure, let them go pop a few minutes on it and have a good time. Who cares? It's Pokemon, dude. Like, that's true. So that is actually, and that kind of brings me back to like the blowhard thing that I was saying earlier. It looks exciting. It looks intriguing. It makes me a little pouty because I've put a lot of time into putting together some like competitive quality teams and some good shiny Pokemon. And the idea of being like, oh, let's go battle over here where all of the stuff you built doesn't matter. It's like, But like at the same time, it makes it so other people don't need to go through all of that crap. They don't need to own a Switch. They don't need to, like, it's not required for them to have put that enormous amount of time and money into putting things together. They could just pop a program on their computer and just have fun. And isn't that the goal? So, and private message me on this if you don't mind. When were you looking at having that thing that was going to involve Showdown? I mean, you can put it in the chat if it's not a secret, but like, I just, so that I know when I would need to kind of have that program downloaded and kind of figured out in order for me to join in. Because I think that would be entertaining. Definitely cool. And it'll give me a chance to kind of try something out, because like, I haven't finished my Trick Room team. I can beta test it on there. I can try out the idea of a rain dance team, something that I looked at and then just didn't build because it just felt a little bit more kind of precariously perched on some of the other things. I already had one team that kind of really depended on Trick Room being active. I didn't want to have another one that hinges on weather, at least not yet. But it'll be a chance to try out some stuff without having to sink however many hours and like all the resources in the game into getting your hands on something like that. You know what I mean? Be able to just hop in a team, because as far as I understand it, I mean, you just kind of go in, use some drop-down menus, pick the dudes, select the stuff, and then you're good to go. Like, the game just kind of, it's kind of like, if you ever played Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro way back in the day, where it's kind of like, it is the core game, but everything's just, it's free in that you're not, it's not like Magic Online where you have to go buy booster packs and all that crap. You can just like pick it up and play it and it's done. So that's really cool. I also like don't have Discord open, I'm realizing, so we're going to open that real quick so that I can read things. Give it a second. There it is. Cool. Just so I have it. I'm still going to put it away for a minute, but that way I can actually see what we're talking about. Cool. So we get some items. Discord, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, I don't care. Wherever works for you. I mean, you can throw it in the chat, as I said, if you want. So wherever you're going to send it, I'll see it. It just dawned on me that I closed Discord earlier. I was having microphone issues when I first turned on. OBS just decided it didn't like my my mic, so I was like closing and opening shit and running all over the place trying to figure it out. No, that sounds good. That sounds good. Just like any old weekend. This particular weekend, like 3 days from now, I'm actually quite busy, but I'm assuming you're not trying to have this launched in 3 days. So, you know, whenever would work for me. Weekends are ideal in the sense that I don't work, so I can definitely make sure I have time for it, but whatever ends up working out for you, I'm here for it. Switch, because I suspect that the bird will have a bad time in the rock gym. That sounds good. And honestly, having a weekend like that, just like this weekend, for me to kind of open it up, I might shoot you a message if I can't figure it out. I'm reasonably good at computers, I think, but you never know. I try and keep an open mind about asking for help on stuff, so. But yeah, I mean, it sounds interesting. As I said, I'm going to be like pouty face about not being able to use all my fancy mods, but at the same time, like, if it lets other people enjoy without needing to sit there and pay, like, it's like saying, nah, you have to spend $300 on a Switch and then $60 on a Pokemon game and then spend, I don't know, a dozen hours playing through to beat the game. And like, that's such a huge time investment for someone to play with me. If I could just be like, yeah, it's free, just go on that website and click 3 buttons. Like, yeah, I should do that. Because I enjoy Pokemon as a franchise. It's not all about the grindingness. I'm just trying to have fun with friends. So, it'll be good. It'll be good. Yeah, I mentioned I had microphone issues earlier. That was courtesy of Windows Update, I think. It was like, hey, we're restarting right now to do updates. And I was like, sure. It's not like I was in the middle of something. And when I launched it back up, OBS is like, I can't find your microphone, bro. So I had to sit there and fiddle around with it. It turns out it just like completely unlinked it, and I had to like remove it as an item and put it back in. So it's fine now. I don't know if OBS is being a cranky pants about it or if it's Windows' fault, but the Windows update seems to be what set it off, so I'm blaming that. But yeah, so pro tip. It was annoying because like, what is it? Discord could see it, like just like the Windows device manager was detecting the input, like everything was fine, and then I would go to OBS and it would just be like, so I don't know. Yeah, I started like a half hour late today because of that. So like I went live and I'm like talking to myself and I was like, hang on, that thing's not moving. All right, so we got Rourke, the rock gym leader. Yo, Leanne was cracking up the other day. So I don't know the guy's name and we're not going to get into it, but we had like a person who sent in some forums and their first name was Rourke. And she was like, that's not a name. And I was like, well, It is, and I know that because of Pokemon Gen 4, because of the Rock Gym leader. Like, it's just cracking her up a little bit. Let me see. Showdown's more of a battle sim. So, when you say it uses its own rules and formats, are we talking like what's allowed in your team and what, like, or are we talking like it runs its own damage calculation using its own formula? Like, are the mechanics the same and it's just what it lets you do for battles a little bit different, or is it like more fundamentally changed than that? No wrong answer. I'm just wondering what I'm getting myself into. All right, so that's a good sign. We're beating up Mr. Rourke the Rock guy. Onyx. Okay, so it kind of uses the core math that the franchise uses, but then instead of using like the Pokemon Sword just like level battle function and the anything goes function, they probably incorporate like Smog and Tears and okay, that makes perfect sense. Okay, I mean, that sounds super reasonable, and I'm sure the program will do a reasonably good job of explaining it, kind of like in Magic Online, where if you try and add an illegal card to a deck, it kind of calls it out. I would imagine that the app will kind of maintain it. Yeah, I'm familiar with, at least in name, what the Smog and Tears are. Back in Diamond and Pearl, we actually played using the OU tier in one of the online battling groups I was part of. So like I've tinkered with it in the past. I have not kept up with the meta. Do you know if Showdown uses Gen 8 Pokemon, or are they still behind? I mean, they've had a year to add them in. There's not that many of them, so they probably should have caught up. But you know, just trying to figure out if we're going to be kind of going back a gen or two, or if it's going to be current stuff that I can just kind of... Ooh, that's a really good question. Can you use all like 900 Pokemon, or is it doing the weird Sword and Shield like, oh, there's only like 400 of them now, sorry, sort of thing? I would assume they can do what they want, but if it's trying to use Smog and Tears and it's using the Sun and Moon tier, it might actually lock you into the not the Sun and Moon, sorry, the Sword and Shield tier. It might actually try and only let you use Pokemon that are in Sword and Shield for that tier purpose. Holy jeez, are you kidding me? Alright, well, we're gonna sacrifice this bird so that my turtle survives. Oh no. Well, we just lost a Rourke. Probably. I don't think we have revives. I'm gonna find out, though. Pokemon... Nope, that's not the button. Bag... Yeah, that's not so much a thing. Wing attack and die, I suppose. Okay. No, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, and that was kind of what I was thinking, because I know Smoggen's tier system is built around the current meta that you would see at something like if you were going to play with the actual game cartridge. So the current Sun and Moon... Or not, I'm so caught up on that name. The current Sword and Shield tier list is built around the concept of only having the Pokemon that are in Sword and Shield. And so I figured if it's using those, it's probably locking that. But having a national dex mode is actually really cool, because it kind of lets you sidestep it and, in a sense, create your own meta a little bit, or at least widen it out a little bit. So favorites of yours that might not be in the current gens will be in. So that's neat. We're going to save before fighting this guy this time, because that was annoying. Save state, slot 1. Singles and doubles, that is a good question, actually, as I think about it. My old thing, I used to really love double battles, but with Sword and Shield, I had to kind of redesign my team, and I have been thoroughly enjoying single battles again, just because finding double battle synergy with the smaller list is different. It does, because you gotta, like, in doubles, like, you need the team to coordinate well together. You have the option to set up combos that might not otherwise exist. I would argue that weather teams function a little better in double battles, because you can have, like, a weather setter and a Pokemon that's going to take advantage of it go out at the same time, instead of needing to do one and then the other. Singles, definitely kind of the other way around. Each Pokemon needs to kind of be self-sufficient, but play into hopefully a broader strategy. I have been building pretty much entirely single battle teams in Sword and Shield. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm game for either, if I'm being honest. If I'm voting, I'm probably voting singles. But it would be interesting. I mean, I don't know if you have to pay for the program. I'm assuming not, because it's copyrighted stuff, and if you make money off it, that's like a thing. But I'm assuming the only payment that goes into it is like the time it takes. Yeah, that's awesome. Totally free is really exciting. I'm imagining like your payment is the time investment of setting up your teams. So you could even be like, yeah, set up some singles, set up some doubles, and we'll do like a bracket of each or something like that, which would be a process at least. That way, if people are being nitpicky about it, or if you come up with like a split vote where some people really want singles, some people really want doubles, you at least have kind of a workaround for it. All right, so we're back to the moment of truth, which is, can Cornera here handle the stupid dinosaur? I'm concerned the answer is no, based on how it went last time, but we're gonna find out. We're gonna go fight. We're gonna go with absorb because it's gonna, oh, it's got a leer. All right. That is a really good question, and I'm gonna be honest with you, that's where it starts to get a little bit more out of my depth. I know the franchise. I a little bit less know like bracket information and like tournament seeding. Like I've done like swim meets where they do like the seeding for everything, but like I haven't actually played with like, ooh, we win. Nice. I haven't done anything about like setting up my own, so I would really want to defer to people who know more about it than I do. Yo, that's awesome. Yeah, send that information over. I would love to see what kind of information that is out there. No, we're not gonna, nope. Just to get an idea, because like we could even be like, you know what, like if this is gonna be something that people really enjoy, you could make it like a monthly or a quarterly thing or something like that, where people can kind of keep coming back to it. So we could be like, all right, this time we're gonna do like Gen 4 or Gen 3 trios, you know, like whatever you're gonna do. That's awesome. I think that'd be a lot of fun. You know what I mean? Try and turn it into something like more reoccurring than just a one-off. Yeah, just, and it would be a chance to kind of get some people who like know the like let's pretend you have people who like they knew it, but like they played Gen 3 and then they sort of stopped. Well, you could be like, hey, we're doing Pokemon Showdown, but we're doing like a Gen 3 weekend. Do you want to come and join us and play that old format you knew? And then, well, there you go. Now maybe they're into it, and then when you check out Gen 4 or more recent generation, that maybe they've seen some promotional material and they're into it. But yeah, I mean, this will be a chance to like make sure it works. You know what I mean? Like get everyone comfortable with it, introduce anyone who's interested. But like using it as a way to bring some people in could be fun too. Like I don't know who all you had in mind. You don't need to throw names in the chat unless you want to. But like bringing in people from like our Magic group, if there's anyone in there, or just getting other friends that maybe I have or maybe I haven't met. I mean, it could be kind of fun just to kind of expand it out a little bit. We're gonna have to battle this chump again. Cool. That guy's so neat. Lucky. Made it through without a battle. So I know the latter three. I don't know if I've met Don or if I'm just not recognizing the name. I of course know Tom unless it's a different Tom. And Josh, I actually just the other day was on Warzone with, and I know Mike. Yeah, no, so that's a good group to kind of kick things off with. I don't have a whole lot of friends who do stuff like that. If you remember Monty, he was interested in playing some Sword and Shield with me and was kind of like cracking some eggs to put together a team. He may have some passing interest in it if you're looking to try and get the numbers up. If not, don't stress about it. But, you know, if you're concerned about... I think you had kind of alluded to wishing you could maybe hit 8. Monty may be interested. I don't know. I can shoot him a message. You can shoot him a message to see what we got. So what do we got? Yeah, we kind of desperately need to get Sandy here just a little bit more stuff. Yeah, no, I think that'd be fun. We're gonna go back here because nah, we're just gonna go fight the guys. I don't care. Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. You know what I mean? It's a good group of people. It sounds like people that I know there definitely are exciting and fun to play with. At least a couple of them are pretty familiar with the franchise. I don't know how much Josh and Mike have played, but Tom has expressed some degree of interest in the past. I know you play a fair bit, so it'll be interesting. It'll also be interesting to see how seriously people take it. You definitely could throw something up in your Discord server. That's definitely, there's no reason not to do that. Facebook chat's fine. I'm more partial to Discord, if I'm being honest, just because I don't like Facebook as a company. It's sort of a whole privacy information security thing, but that is just me. I'm not going to dictate how you do your thing. Chats in Discord are nice. Make one on your server. As you've seen, I've got my server built out nicely. I could throw a channel in there if you want. It doesn't matter. I'll just need an invite to yours if you throw it in there. Ooh, polls in Discord. That is a good question. I actually don't know if you can. I haven't seen anything like that. Yeah, if that's the case, Facebook actually is probably the better choice, as I think it's got some better integrated features like that. I hadn't considered that, because that's going to be really helpful for voting instead of just making every... Although, I will say, one of the ways that the girls have been handling votes for stuff on the Nardos Discord server is, like, give me a heart react if you want number one, give me a thumbs down react if you want the other, and they'll just count the number of reacts they get for stuff. So if you want to use Discord, there's ways to kind of sidestep that, but the built-in poll feature is really nice. Oh, cool. We still have a level up on these guys. All right. Come on, Sandy. Don't be a chump. It's not bad. It lets you take advantage of Discord and use the kind of huge variety of reacts to just measure who's interested in what. The polls look nicer and they give you little bar graphs and stuff, which is kind of cool to see how things come out. But, you know, if the goal is just to measure response, you can kind of hack it a little bit as needed. I'm going to wing attack again. Yeah, no, I was actually really surprised when they pulled that out. I hadn't heard of like a polling feature in Discord, and then I was like, oh shit, look at you guys figuring out how to hack the system. I like it. So I think the play here is going to be to get up to Flow Aroma Town and just kind of do the general biz up there and then put it away for the night. And then see if I can kind of hit like a 1 to 2 badge per evening sort of tempo for the rest of this. But now that we fixed the microphone and we got the thing working, I mean, it's exciting. The DS works. I think the layout for it looks like usable and stuff. I'm pretty happy with it. Alright, we beat the Galactic Grunts. It's the first time we see the bad guys of this game. Those chumps. This is an emulator. Here's your proof. I'm gonna save state right here, and it's gonna give you that pop-up thing. It's an emulator, and it runs pretty well. If you change the 3D render, it gets rid of those black speckly boys. Yeah, if I could get a DS with like a useful capture card, I would play handheld. But, you know, until you get like an actual console that runs off of HDMI, like the Switch, capture card stuff is annoying. I think you have to get like physically modified DSs where they add the circuitry in. They're notoriously unstable, but... you know, when in doubt, I mean, it works, usually. What does this guy need? Oh, the fashion case. That sounds really exciting. Oh, yeah. No, it's an expensive modification to get. I'm very comfortable using a free program instead of paying some chump like $200 to install a little coprocessor inside my DS. Please and thank you. So there's the fashion case, which is used for like the stupid dress-up games, and then there's the ball capsule case, which will be getting a little later, which lets you decorate the Pokeballs so that when you send them out in battle, it'll like, it'll have like the little fashiony things. Fashion cases for chumps, I think. The ball capsules were cool. The ball capsules are something that I kind of wish they would bring back, if I'm being honest. Definitely one of the more unique features from this generation. Oh, we got trainers. Sandy's got this. Yeah, the ball capsules were something that I put a lot of time into and was not very good with back in the day. But to be able to kind of bring those back now, I think would be a lot of fun. One Pokemon, right. Oh, it's electric. Yeah, if they do Gen 4 remakes and don't bring back ball capsules, people are going to kind of lose their shit, I think. Like, it's not going to be good. People already, like, based on what I've seen, very nervous for Gen 4 remakes. Like, they're very excited to see the games remade. They are terrified that there's just going to be some weird, like, Game Freak New World Order design choices that result in them kind of feeling hollow like Sword and Shield did. So if you're a Diamond and Pearl fan, brace yourself. I don't know. I'm excited. Here's the thing. I'm excited for them. I am managing my expectations pretty aggressively. Kinda. So it's similar to how they did it in Sun and Moon, where like each Pokeball has like a different sort of like, I don't know, whoop, bumping the microphone, a different kind of like fly away or pop effect when it opens, you know, a different color, maybe like a different swirl or star, like they would kind of do different sparkles like that. So that's still there, but like, I don't know, I am anxious to see how Gen 4 remakes would be handled with some of their specific features, like the niche ones. Like, I don't know that everyone absolutely loved the ball capsules. I have a suspicion that the ball capsule thing was a very niche feature. If people really, like, truly loved it, I suspect it would have been either not cut or brought back. But to have them revisit the generation it came from and not bring it back feels incorrect, you know? Yeah, the different and that's the thing. How do you feel about the ability to breed, like to breed the ball? So if the parent has a particular Pokeball, like let's say you get the Moon Ball, which is one of those weird Kurt Pokeballs that you could get back in like Heart Gold and Soul Silver. If you, the fact that you can breed that Pokemon and the child will have the same ball, that's awesome. You know what I mean? It makes thematic breeding possible, because like, ooh, are we getting an evolution already? Let me set the controller down so I don't accidentally press B. Yeah, because I know a lot of people are really aggressive about styling their team, so they'll catch like a Cresselia and catch it in the Moon Ball because of what I would assume are obvious themes. Or, you know, like whatever Pokemon they would catch, they would try and put it in a ball that stylistically matches. And that is correct. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, males can pass it down when it's a Ditto, which is nice because then you don't end up with it just locked on the wrong side of things. Ooh, do I need to get Rock Smash? Did I make a whoopsie? Yes, Totodile and a Lure Ball is what's up. Can you catch them in the wild? Is that a thing? I'm not calling you a liar. I don't remember. Oh, we have Rock Smash. Okay, who's learning Rock Smash? I guess you're learning Rock Smash. Congratulations, Cornera. Get ready to smash some rocks. That would make sense. Yep. Okay. I'm gonna toss that, I guess. Yeah, the SOS chaining, that's cool. I forgot about that. SOS chaining is what's up, though. It was such a cool mechanic. And the fact that they did, like, little throwaway Easter eggs to, like, the old Kangaskhan Cubone theory by making it so that when you were, like, beating up a Cubone in the wild and it would call for help, it had like a 1% chance of calling it Kangaskhan. Like, that's such a cool opportunity to kind of have a throwback to the old games, you know? To the old theories and stuff like that. I'll be honest with you, I don't remember. I have no idea. I know that the Lure Ball and some of the other ones, they were specific to either games where Kurt was in them, so like Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and they made them like one-off for some of the other ones. Yo, Marini, yeah, because it only showed up when you found like a Corsola, right? Like, oh my god, that was upsetting. Who was I trying to get the one time? I needed to get a slow king, and I didn't have anyone to trade with at the time, so I tried to get a slowpoke and SOS chain it, and there was like a 1% chance. Yeah, dude, there have been a lot of Pokemon, especially through the SOS chain mechanic, that were just extremely time consuming because the spawn rate was like 1%. And I am unlucky when it comes to stuff like that. Completing the Pokédex in that game is not something I would want to have to do it again. I fortunately have a living Pokédex now, so it's literally every time a new generation drops, I just need to get the new Pokemon, which is super nice because then I don't have to be redundant. The problem is, it seems like every time a new game comes out, there are months before things like Pokemon Home launch or something where you can bring the old Pokemon into the new game. So if you want to get the shiny charm early, you have to complete it anyway, which usually involves catching a bunch of old generation Pokemon. So, you know. Yeah, here's the thing. After Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon came out, I did the same thing. I completed the National Dex. I have a living Pokédex, so in the Pokemon Home now, I have one of every evolutionary stage of every Pokemon. You might as well. I'm just clarifying what I'm talking about there. Yeah, the living Dex is wild. But I did that because I could not wait to have all these Pokemon exist in Sword and Shield, and I shit you not, 3 weeks after I finished my living Pokédex, they had that Game Freak announcement where they mentioned that 400 Pokemon were coming forward into Sword and Shield. 3 weeks. I finished it. I was so excited, and I was so mad. I was so mad. But one thing I did, I have a legitimate event Mew. But are you familiar with the idea of a stack underflow glitch? I'm going to clarify what it is either way. Oh, that's right. Twins can walk in this game. That's fine. Stack underflow is a general computer thing, but it's something that you could kind of abuse in the older generations. Basically, when you define a variable within the game's code, you can kind of give it like a range, whether it's just by like how big the integer cap is for that game or whatever it is, because there were like 8-bit code and shit. It was different. But if the item or the quantity of whatever thing it is would go above the limit, like it would kind of wrap back around to the lowest value, and then underflow spins it the other way. Yeah, so you could abuse it by screwing with items in your bag in Generation 1 to do like the missing no glitch that you could do to kind of multiply your items by 6. That was kind of like being mean and abusing stuff like that. Well, there were ways to go further with it to the point that you could use the stack underflow glitch to overwrite the trainer ID, the secret ID, and the original trainer of a Pokemon if you knew how to do the right sequence of events. So in the Pokemon Red Virtual Console release on the 3DS, where they did not patch any of the bugs, they just did a true, authentic re-release, I did the Mew glitch and caught a Mew, and then I used the stack underflow glitch with the right implementation, and I overwrote its trainer IDs with authentic event trainer IDs so that I could migrate it forward from Red and Blue into Sword and Shield, and the Pokemon Home system would allow it through. You can look up how to do it if you're at all interested. It's like a little time consuming to set up, but it's not like it's hard. Just be careful, because if you do stuff in the wrong order, it will corrupt your game because you were kind of tinkering with like core game files and shit. But yeah, the re-releases of those games were an excellent idea. I have all 6. I beat Red and I beat Crystal. I beat Red because Red was where the stack underflow stuff still worked the way I needed it to, and Crystal version was because there was the Celebi at the end if you beat it. You could kind of trigger the old Celebi distribution event that they didn't really distribute back in Gen 2. So that was really cool. Definitely worth picking up. And then it's the kind of thing where if you're not an emulator kind of guy, you can just grab your DS if you want to go play a classic game, and then anything you do in there, you can port forward to the new games. So it arguably pays off in the end. But hey, I made it to the pretty flower town. I'm gonna just save state really quick because I don't know what happens if I save in game and I don't want to lose my progress, but we're gonna try it. Yes. And then I think this marks the end of stream number 1 with Platinum. Rocky start, clean finish. Team's looking passable for now. I haven't decided who the next Pokemon are going to be, so I might take some time in the next handful of days and work on that. We'll start with Valley Windworks next time and then kind of meander on forward. Let's see what we got from you, Mr. Pat. Besides normal breeding for your complete living text, the only things you're missing are... Yeah, let me tell you about that. I was missing a Diancie and a Volcanion as well, and I went on the Cerebi.net forums, and there's like a Pokemon trade thread that you can do in there. I found a guy who was willing to give me both of them if I could breed him a 5 perfect stat shiny Crabrawler, and I did. And I got lucky, and it was like my 200th egg, and so that's how I got them. Because I missed the event distribution. They put them live, and I just totally whiffed it. So I'm going to do this because the game is finished. I'm going to do this because I made it, and why the heck not? But yeah, no, there's that, and I don't know if I told you, in Sword and Shield, I have a 6 perfect IV Chinese Ditto that I can use for Masuda breeding. That exists because I found a guy on Reddit who had it, and I had a 6 perfect IV American Ditto, and he was willing to trade so that we could both have better chances for good Masuda breeding and stuff. So if you're looking for some of those mythicals, if there's Pokemon that you haven't gotten yet that you still need to get your hands on, Cerebi forums, Reddit, some other stuff, there's a couple really good places that you can go. That's not the right one, that one. There's a couple really good places that you can go to kind of queue up some trades. There are people out there who are willing to part with stuff for the right price. If I had any extras, I would totally share. I only have the one of each of those. I have like 4 and 5 IV Dittos if you want. I don't know if they're foreign, but you know. And this is one of those things where you can decide if you want to stoop to this level, so to speak, but there are also people online who will, of all things, sell you the event Pokemon. So yeah, I mean, that'll work. There are people who'll like $5 and they'll give you like a legit event distribution. They're just kind of, you know, making some money off of it. And honestly, $3, $5 for something that's hard to come by, if it matters to you, dude, go for it. How much money will you spend on a magic card if someone tells you to? Like, same damn thing. So, but on that note, I'm going to shut it down for now. I'll shoot you a message on Discord once I'm off just to chat a little bit more about the Pokemon thing. But yeah. Yeah, I'll see you next time, my friend. It has been a pleasure. I will be back. So I'm going to real quick outline my updated stream schedule after the changes. Friday is my birthday. I've got some crap going on that day. I may be on for Magic, but moving forward, it sounds like Magic is going to be a Friday sort of thing. I'm moving Pokemon to Mondays, and then I'm going to be putting Warzone on Wednesday. So we got Monday Mons, Warzone Wednesdays, and Friday Night Magic, but not the officially sponsored one. So with that said, I'm going to hit that stop streaming button now. Thanks, Mr. Pat. I appreciate it. And yeah, we'll catch up, do some Magic or something, and I'll see you next time.